Hi, welcome back to the finite element analysis of beam 5. In this we are going to solve the problem number 2 and the learning outcome is to solve the given problem. Now this is the problem. Solve for the vertical deflection and slope at point 2 and 3 using the beam element for the structure shown below. So this is the structure. So here this is what my point 1, the fixed end, and this is my point 2 and this is what my point 3. So I need to find out the slope and deflection at point 2 means at this roller as well as at this roller, and he has also asked you to calculate the deflection at the center portion of the beam which is carrying UDL. So second portion of the beam which is carrying UDL, here I need to calculate what is the maximum deflection at the center. That means at a distance of 0.5 from this roller or from this fixed end at a distance of 1.5 meter. And he has mentioned take E is equal to 200 gigapascal and I is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 6 mm raised to 4. So let us start with solving this problem using uh, finite element method. So first we need to do the FA model. So this is what my FA model, having considering the two elements here, this element number 1, element number 2 with 3 nodes, and at all the 3 nodes I have shown the possible application of the force and moments as well as the displacement and the slope, and two elements both are having the length of 1 meter. Now here everything I have in terms of meter, that is length is in terms of meter, then applied UDL is in terms of kilonewton per meter, and only the I value, that is moment of inertia, it is given in terms of mm raised to 4. So let us convert that in terms of meter raised to 4. So 2 into 10 to the power of 6 mm raised to 4 is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter raised to 4. So that is what conversion I am doing. Now let us start with the second step, that is uh, I need to find out what is the element stiffness matrix. So for a beam element, this is a matrix which is given. So there I need to substitute E value, I value, as well as the length of the element. So length of the first element is 1 meter. So I am substituted 1 meter here. Then in the matrix, wherever length of the element, there also I need to substitute 1. Therefore, it is left with the same values. Then the solving this value 2 into 10 to the power of 9 into 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by 1 cube, that value is going to be 4 into 10 to the power of 5, and this matrix as it is, and this is what I have calculated for first element. Therefore the 4 displacement associated with the first element is 1 2 3 4, so that I have written here horizontally as well as vertically. Then as we know, the moment of inertia, Young's modulus as well as length for the second element is also same. Therefore k1 is equal to k2. No need to calculate once again. So k1 is equal to k2. So k1 is equal to k2. Same thing I am going to copy, but the 4 displacement associated with the second element is 3 4 5 6 horizontally and 3 4 5 6 vertically. So now I need to do the assemble of these two stiffness matrix to get the global stiffness matrix. That is what my third step. Now the both the K1 and K2 both are having 4 cross 4 matrix with 3 nodes. Therefore at each node I will be having 2 displacement. Therefore totally there are 6 displacement. Therefore my global stiffness matrix is of 6 cross 6. So I need to write 1 2 3 4 up to 6 horizontally. Similarly 1 2 3 4 4 5 6 vertically. Therefore I need to enter 1 of 1, the value is 12, that is what I need to enter. Then 2 of 1 is 6, 3 of 1 is minus 12, then 4 of 1 is 6. Then I don't have any 5 of 1 either in this matrix or in this matrix. Therefore 5 of 1 will become 0, and similarly 6 of 1 also 0 because I don't have any 6 of 1 in this matrix or in this matrix. Therefore I am going to get the first row values in the global stiffness matrix. Similarly I need to do 1 of 2, 2 of 2, 3 of 3. When I come to the 3 of 3, I'll be having two values for 3 of 3. Similarly when I come for 4 of 4, I'll be having the two values of 4 of 4, that is here one value, and 4 of 4 I have here one value. So I need to add those two values so that I can get that global stiffness matrix. So that is I have done in the next. So this is what my global stiffness matrix. As I told, I need to write 6 horizontal, 6 number horizontally, 6 vertically, because it's a 6 cross 6 matrix with each node 2 degrees of freedom. Therefore I mentioned the first row values. Similarly, these are the second row values. When I come to the third of third, it is addition of two values, therefore it is 24. Similarly, 4 of 4, it is addition of two values, because of that value is 8. So this is what my global stiffness matrix, keeping that 4 into 10 to the power of 5 from both the matrix common outside the matrix. So once this is done, the next step is to find out the equivalent nodal forces, because my problem is applied with the UDL, and as I told, FEM doesn't solve the problem when load is on the element. So I need to convert that elemental load into equivalent nodal forces. So when UDL is there, so whatever the UDL applied, it is a downward UDL. Therefore, these are the equivalent nodal forces. So this is minus Q naught into LE divided by 2 on node number 1. Similarly, minus Q naught into LE divided by 2 on node number 2. Then minus Q naught into LE square by 12. And here I have Q naught into LE square by 12 positive value on the node number 2. So these are the four equivalent nodal forces where I know what is the value of Q naught applied UDL, and I know the length of that particular element where this UDL is applied, so that I can substitute and get those values. So let us take this as an F1, the vertical force which is there on node number 1. Let us take this as an F2, that is vertical force which is there on node number 2. And this is my M1, that is moment which is there on node number 1, and this is my M2, the moment which is there on node number uh, to R. Anyhow, my element is applied with the UDL at node number, sorry, at element number 2. Therefore, the element 2 is associated with node number 2 and 3 here. Therefore, I'll start with this is F2, this is F3, this is M2, and this is M3. Okay, so therefore the node number 3 associated with the suffix 3, and the node number 2 values are associated with suffix 2. Therefore that is what I have calculated here. Anyhow, this is instead of F1 F2, now this will become F2 F3. So my F2 F3 will be equal to this value. So where applied UDL is 12 kilonewton per meter, so I'll convert that in terms of Newton per meter applied with multiplied with 10 to the power of 3. Length is 1 meter divided by 2, so that turning to be minus 6 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton. Similarly, the calculation of moment is Q naught into LE square divided by 12. So same thing, once again Q naught I have converted in terms of Newton per meter. Then length is 1 meter for the second element. After solving this, it has to be minus 1 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton meter. And similarly, the moment value at node number 3 is same as the moment value which is at node number 1, but only there is a change in the sign. It is the moment which is the node number 2 is minus 1, whereas the moment which is there at node number 3 is plus 1. So these are the equivalent nodal forces I have converted. Now once this is done, I need to get the global force vector. So force vector for first element when you calculate, so F1 M1 F2 M2, these are the four forces, that is force and moment which is applied at node number 1. F1 M1, these are the force and moment applied at node number 1. F2 M2, these are the force which is applied at node number 2. Therefore my first element is not subjected to any of the force, therefore it is all 0. And the four displacement associated with the first element is 1 2 3 4. So that is what I have written here. So that will helpful when we are doing the assemble of total global force vector. So this is 1 2 3 4. Similarly, I need to calculate the force vector for the second element where I am subjected to UDL. So there when I calculate, it is similarly F2 M2 F3 M3, it should be notation F2 M2 F3 M3. So F2 just now we have calculated, it is minus 6 into 10 to the power of 3. Then M2 is minus 1 into 10 to the power of 3. Then F3 is minus 6 into 10 to the power of 3, and M2 is 1 into 10 to the power of 3. So there the four displacement associated with second element is 3 4 5 6. So that is what I have mentioned. So anyhow I have 6 displacement, therefore my force vector, the global force vector will be a 1 cross 6 matrix. So that is what I have mentioned here. So this is F1 M1 F2 M2 F3 M3. Now this is the notation I have followed here. So here F1 M1 0, F2 M2 I will be having two values, because the node number 2 is common to both element number 1 and 2. Therefore for the first force matrix F2 M2 are 0, but for the second force matrix my F2 M2 are minus 6 and 1. So that minus 6 and 1 I have added here. Then F3 M3 is minus 6 and plus 1. So minus 6 and plus 1 I have put the value here. So this is what my total global stiffness matrix. Now after calculating this global global force vector, after calculating this global force vector, I need to put it in equilibrium condition, and I need to apply the elimination method of boundary condition. That is what we call it as an EMBC. So my global stiffness matrix is this multiplied with displacement matrix. So I have 6 displacement, that is V1 theta 1, V2 theta 2, similarly V3 theta 3. So that will be equal to the force matrix F1 M1, F2 M2, F3 M3. So anyhow, I have calculated this force matrix. In the next step, let us substitute that for force values here. So that is what I have done here. And along with that, I'll also mention which are the node numbers are fixed and where the roller support is applied. So my node number 1 is completely constant, so means completely fixed. Therefore, my displacement at node number 1 is 0. Now I have two displacement at node number 1, that is V1 and theta 1, both are 0. And at node number 2, I have a roller support. Therefore, it avoids the vertical displacement. Therefore, my V2 is equal to 0. Similarly, I have a roller at node number 3 also. There also the vertical displacement is constant. Therefore, my V3 is equal to 0. Now, I need to eliminate those particular rows and columns where the displacement is 0. So that is what I have done. Now, V1 theta 1 is nothing but first row first column, and theta 1 is nothing but second row second column. V2 is nothing but my third row third column, and V3 is nothing but my fifth row fifth column. So these are the particular rows and columns I need to eliminate where the uh, boundary condition is applied, and there the displacement is 0. Now once this elimination is done, now I need to write down the left out values. Here 8 is one value left out, 2, this is 2, and this is 4, and here that force minus 1 into 10 to the power of 3 is left out, and this is plus 1 into 10 to the power of 3 is left out. So that is what I have written here once again. So 4 into 10 to the power of 5 outside of the matrix as it is. So 8, 2, 2, 4, it is, these are the 4 values left out with the 2 displacement, that is theta 2 and theta 3. So that is what I mentioned, that will be equal to the left out force matrix. Now I need to open this matrix to get the two equations, because I have two unknowns here, that is theta 2 and theta 3. So 4 into 10 to the power of 5 into 8 into theta 2 plus 4 into 10 to the power of 5 into 2 into theta 3 is equal to minus 1 into 10 to the power of 3. That is what my first equation. Similarly, when I multiply this term with the second row, then I'll get this second equation. So I have two unknowns, that is theta 2 and theta 3. By solving these two equations, I am going to get those two values, that is theta 2 and theta 3. So my theta 2 is minus 5.357 into 10 to the power of minus 4 radians, because it's a slope. Similarly, theta 3, which is there at node number 3, that is 8.929 into 10 to the power of minus 4 radians. So this is what the first question he has asked you to calculate, the slope and the deflection. Anyhow, the deflection at node number 2, that is at point 2 and 3 has asked. So deflection at point 2 and 3 both are 0, and the slope at point 2 and 3 are, these are the values we obtained. Now after this, he has asked you to calculate what is the maximum deflection at the center portion of the beam where the UDL is carrying. So for that we know the Vmax equation, that is the displacement at any random distance, that is V is equal to N1 V1. With the help of shape function, we need to put that equation, that is N1 V2. Because why it is V2? Because the force displacement associated with the second element I need to consider, because my second element is subjected to UDL. So it is N1 V2 plus LE by 2 N2 theta 2 plus N3 V3, and similarly I have LE by 2 N4 theta 3. Then substituting the values of N1, N2, N3, N4. So these are the values of N1, and this is value of N2, and this is value of N3, and this is what my value of N4. So these are the values of N1, N2, N3, N4 I have substituted. Now I need to calculate the maximum deflection at the center portion of the beam. So I know the value of zeta for that particular element where the element is carrying UDL. The value of zeta is 0 at the midspan. Therefore, in the above equation, wherever zeta, I need to substitute it as 0. When I substitute it as 0, here this entire term will be 0, because V2 is 0. The value of V2 is 0. Then I'll be having a value for theta 2, and the value of theta 2 is minus 5.357 into 10 to the power of minus 4. This is the value of theta. Now everywhere zeta is 0, left out with this 1. Then length of the second portion element is 1. Therefore it is 1 by 2, 1 by 4 as it is, and this 1 as it is, into theta 2 is, this is what my theta 2 value is substituted. then I know the value of V3 is 0. So anything multiplied with 0, it will become 0. So that I have substituted 0 plus here length of the element is 1, therefore 1 by 2, and this 1 by 4 as it is. These all zetas are zeros. Left out is minus 1. So this is what minus 1. Then value of theta 3 we have obtained. So that is 8.929 into 10 to the power of minus 4. This is value of theta 3 I have substituted. After calculating this, then I am going to get this value. So my Vmax is minus 1.78575 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meters, because all values are taken in terms of meters. So therefore my deflection will be in terms of meters. So this is what deflection in terms of meters. Thank you.